RFF 95.9, radiofreefargo.org. We're streaming everywhere on the blue and green marble. We can get in your ear hole. And I'd love to get in there because we are the best independent radio station in the world as far as I'm concerned. Canna-Talk ND with Wilson. That's what's getting ready to happen here. It's Thursday. It's 4 o'clock. 4:20, we'll open a big fat bag of cannabis news. We talk about cannabis legalization, the benefits of cannabis, general cannabis news, and with a sprinkling of a couple, crazy cocaine stories. And we got a couple for you today. As long as they keep making it and as long as you idiots keep snorting it, there's going to be stories about cocaine. And I don't know if that, keeps me in subject matter. I don't know. I also have a story about 2 million dimes being stolen. That's going to be fun. Again, we'll open a big fat bag of cannabis news. 4:20. It's gloomy here in Fargo Moorhead. It's not great. Weather is taking a turn on us, people. And that one word that rhymes with blow. And actually, it will blow. So it's kind of a... Did I just make a conundrum? But anyway, buy some gloves if you ain't got them. Get your hat strapped, because it's coming soon, people, if you live up here in the Midwest. Right before me in the morning is Country with Trav, 9 to 11. Then you got me, Canna-Talk ND with Wilson, 4 o'clock. I'm up in the studio. Just a big ball of sunshine for you guys today. We talk about cannabis, the benefits of cannabis. And then after me, Stinky Arts Music Mart. We got a mixtape. And we don't have Artemis Shrine tonight because I made that up. That's not even real. But there is a show in the evening. Stick around so you can partake in that. And then Friday, of course, that comes with its own set of programs that you'll want to tap into. Again, Canna-Talk ND with Wilson. That's me. Brought to you by Black Cottage Alchemy. Black Cottage Alchemy on Facebook. Black Cottage Alchemy does a 1,200 mgs of CBD lotion magic with comfrey, ylang-ylang, colloidal silver, love. If you've got something external on your skin, this can do stuff to you. Positively from the benefits of CBD, naturally grown in our fine state of North Dakota. I don't really have... Maybe I've got a Minnesota story. I do have a Minnesota story. Again, for y'all living under a rock, Minnesota legalized cannabis. So you can have 2 ounces in your pocket as we speak outside the Holiday gas station on Main and Moorhead. You can do it. I'm not so sure I recommend it, but you can do it. Let's see. You're listening to Radio Free Fargo, 95.9 KRFF. It's a community radio station. Business owners, managers, nonprofit organizations considering advertising. Why not learn what underwriting is on a nonprofit community radio station instead? To learn more about what underwriting is, please contact us at our website, www.radiofreefargo.org, or at our profile on Facebook. Why not let listeners know that you support the community by supporting a community radio station, 95.9. Well, there you have it, and there it is. Again, it's not a great day. But I believe God created cannabis for us to use as we see fit, and I show him props every Sunday. 417 Main Avenue, Antioch Pentecostal Church. Be there or be square. 10 a.m. we do a recovery class. If you've got a monkey on your back or you've knocked a monkey off, but you can still feel them like sticking little bananas in your back pocket, we got what you need. We believe the Holy Ghost can take care of all those problems, all those dependency issues, all the stuff that's got you bound up. Feel me? Anyway, there's always options, and that's one for you. Canna-Talk ND with Wilson. That's what's happening now, though. And I don't know if I played this song already, because that's just the way my brain works. So if I already have, I'm just hoping nobody knows. But if that's not the case, then it won't be. So let's get our song dialed up here. This here is my good friend Weird Al Yankovic. Grapefruit Diet. You're welcome. Thank you and good night. Grapefruit Riot. Weird Al. Bless his heart. Here on KRFF 95.9 LPFM, radiofreefargo.org. Fargo Moorhead's where we blowing this sound out at you from. But if you're tapped into radiofreefargo.org, you can listen wherever you are. Finland, we got you, bruh. come on through. Canna-Talk ND with Wilson. I'm Wilson. Shout out to y'all listening. Thank you for joining me on this gloomy, gloomy day. It's not great. I don't even know if it's 30 degrees out stinking here. I mean, and by out stinking here, I don't mean in here because I'm inside, but you know what I'm saying. If you were to venture outside, your skin would tell you this ain't even 30, and your skin would be right. So, I don't know, you know. You never like it when winter happens, and it always comes so suddenly, which is good, I guess. But again, if you ain't got your mucklucks, dusted off, you might want to think about it. But anyway, 420, we'll open a big fat bag of cannabis news. So stick around for that. I am going to talk about... What are we going to talk about? What are we going to do? Let's talk about this. This is from KY3. Get your mind out of the gutter, Bob. Where are we at? KY3, the place to be. Man, are we rhyming? Get out of here. Cannabis impaired driving. This is interesting. Current Missouri laws and what's to come when detecting the substance. Before we get into that, though, let me tell you about programming on 95.9 Radio Free Fargo. It's been underwritten by Drummer's Journey. Drummer's Journey offers percussion instruments, hardware, electronics, accessories, and more. They have a full service for drummers, including repair, custom building, and lessons. Drummer's Journey is located at Highway 10 East Mall in Moorhead, Minnesota. Their hours are Monday through Thursday, 11 to 7, Fridays and Saturdays, 11 to 5, Sundays, noon to 5. For more info, check drummersjourney.com. They have one of them profile things on Facebook. Now, let's get back to what we were talking about. This is a Missouri article regarding impaired driving on cannabis. And cannabis, again, this is one of those funny things, So anyway, now that recreational cannabis is legal in Missouri, which let me just say this, because I always like mentioning this because this is so crazy. Missouri sells $8 million a day in cannabis currently. Are you kidding me? That seems like a lot, doesn't it? I mean, we're talking 8 times 7. We're talking $56 million a week. Crazy. Again, Canna-Talk ND with Wilson. 420. Stick around. We'll open a big fat bag of cannabis news. But I'm going to break you off a little taste test, to check the purity of my news, And that's fair, You'll be coming back, though. They always do. But anyway, law enforcement is looking for the right way to look for impairment behind the wheel. Now, my kind of knee-jerk contention is if you can't tell, stop bugging me, If you can't tell, then are we good here, bruh? I mean, we're going to keep playing this. I'm going to try to figure it out. I mean, if it's a mystery you can't solve, bruh, I'm not intoxicated, And the cool thing is they can't just assume with smell anymore, So, let's get into this. Article 14 of the Missouri Constitution says you cannot use cannabis at all while driving. Nothing. You can't do it at all. And then again, I would argue that you easily could use some and drive. I mean, I'm here to change the law, not break the law. I don't even have a car. But when I did, I guarantee you I was utilizing cannabis. Just to focus, just to keep my eyes on the road. Because again, having ADD, what happens for me is I've got all of this stuff floating around in my head, what to do. And it could be, important stuff like writing a term paper or just brushing my teeth or just putting my shoes on. And all of those are just rolling around in my brain and I can't lock them in, line them up in priority. Like my brain just flood me with all of it. And I don't know where to start with it. Cannabis will kind of slow the swirl and kind of just break the space in between those down so I'm able to think about each thing, prioritize them, and then do them. And that's the same thing with driving. If I can't focus on driving, I kill kids. I'd drop a stroller right out the sidewalk because I was too busy trying to figure out, the exhaust, like the defrost buttons, like they're new. I'm not used to this. Wham. You see what I mean? So for me, driving and utilizing cannabis just makes good sense, right? And then everybody would argue. Now, again, there is a point of no return. I mean, I wouldn't suggest eating 16 brownies, 4 bongs, 13 joints, and maybe, a couple grams of wax and then trying to drive to Bismarck. That's probably, and you get pulled over, you're probably going to get found out. Because you probably won't be driving. You'll probably be parked somewhere precarious on County Road, that mile marker 115. The cop's like, well, that looks weird. Why is he doing that? He pulls over, he stops you, and you're like, I don't know, doing paper, rock, scissor challenges with yourself. You're like, what? That ain't right. You might be on something. And they might be right. But for the most part, there is no magic number with cannabis or a certain level of cannabis in one's blood that will justify or support an inference that that person is under the influence, says Missouri attorney Dan Vietz, which is absolutely right. Vietz pushed for the passage of Amendment 3, saying people are still being convicted for driving behind the wheel after using cannabis, and that it could actually be increasing after the amendment passed last year. Now, we'll talk about this more at 420 when I open a big fat bag of cannabis news, because I just realized this article might be kind of interesting to look at a little further. But that's interesting, right? Because if you can prove they've ingested it at all, and you can't prove that there's, impairment, you assume that there can be. Right? You assume that they can be. Now, so here's what Viet says. He goes, I do think there are some cops who know that they cannot arrest people for simple possession now. So they would be more inclined to arrest people on suspicion of driving while under the influence. See that? And that is interesting. But I got a brand new tune. I Shot the Sheriff, Stephen Marley with Eric Clapton. You're welcome. Yes, indeed. I Shot the Sheriff featuring Mr. Eric Clapton. That's Stephen Marley. Brand new here on KRFF 95.9 LPFM. Canna-Talk ND with Wilson. That's where we're at. That's what's happening. That's what this hour entails. Talk about the benefits of cannabis, general cannabis news, cannabis legalization, with the side crazy cocaine story thrown in there for fun. 420, we open a big fat bag of cannabis news, and when that happens, this happens. This gives you a moment to get ready if you need time. And we'll see you on the other side of this. Canna-Talk ND with Wilson.
Hey, it's Phill from Canna-Heads. Like this episode? Hit that like button. And if you enjoy the show, hit that subscribe button to stay up to date on cannabis news, local and national. Listen live on 95.9 in the Fargo, North Dakota region from 4 to 5 p.m. on Thursday. For our non-Fargo region friends, you can listen on your favorite podcast platform. Just search Canna-Talk ND with Wilson. Now enjoy the show.
Hello, everybody. How you doing? You can take your raincoat off now. It's time for Canna-Talk ND with Wilson. It's going to be really dry in here, so you're not going to need a raincoat. But if you got to wear one, who am I to stop you, right? And you look good. That's a good color. Matches your eyes, whatever. So, I was talking before the musical break about this driving in Missouri. And so, for those of you just tuning in, this is KY3 from Missouri. Cannabis impaired driving, current Missouri laws, and what's to come when detecting the substance. So this is kind of the age-old thing. Everybody wants to know, now that cannabis is legal, how do we look for impairment behind the wheel? And in Missouri, there's an Article 14 in the Missouri Constitution that you cannot use cannabis at all while driving, which is kind of a weird gray area. Because, again, if you were listening to the segment before, it almost makes it safer for y'all if I'm medicating to drive. I think people like distracted people that can't pay attention, like let's say for fun, like a ditzy person who gets their high heels stuck in by the accelerator and drives right into Women's Fitness. I think that's where it was, but somewhere. Or like Moe's up on 32nd, some wacky dude stuck it into drive, drove right into the Southwest Grill. Was he on anything? No, he just wasn't thinking. Well, I can be that guy with ADD. I can be easily impulsive. I can accidentally hit the gas. I can accidentally forget to brake. So it's nice to be able to concentrate and focus on the task at hand if it means safety on the road. And I've driven thousands and thousands and thousands of miles. I don't know that there's a state my driving ability hasn't permeated. All right. And I can assure you that it's better if I'm utilizing something that's going to help me focus on the task at hand, and that's the driving. Because there's a lot going on when you think about it, besides driving while you're driving. There can be distractions, billboards, blah, 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 blah. So there's a gray area. It's a gray area. I personally think a lot of people could be better drivers utilizing cannabis. Maybe it's strain specific, So anyway, when you say that you cannot use it at all while driving, that's it's a harsh kind of stop point, So the attorney says there's no magic number or a certain level of cannabis in one's blood. So, again, like I was saying before, there are going to be police officers who know they can't arrest for simple possession. So they're going to be more inclined to arrest people on suspicion of driving while under the influence. Okay, so Illinois, Montana, Nevada, Ohio, and Washington, they have specific limits for THC. And then they asked this lawyer if that'd be a possibility here in Missouri. And he says, Missouri will never have a law of that nature because our Constitution forbids it. Well, okay, so what? I mean, you can't tweak it? Viet says some states that have passed THC limits have repealed it because of the limited science. The Missouri State Highway Patrol says it's nothing new, and they're still looking for signs of impairment. So here's what Corporal Sam Carpenter says. DOE doesn't always apply to alcohol. So this guy's pretty smart. I kind of like this guy. It applies to anything that impairs your ability to operate a vehicle. Full stop. I'm with that. It doesn't always only apply to alcohol. You could just be distracted. You just found out your old lady's been ran through more than you just found out your wife was not faithful to you at all, and the kid ain't even yours. You see what I'm saying? Could be out on the street with me, and I can assure you I'm the safer guy, and that guy is impaired with emotion. He's distracted. His heart's got him distracted. And I can assure you, a dude who just found out the life that he knew it is over, he's going to have to figure out how to divorce and get this lady out of his house. That's a distraction, that would keep you from focusing, on the road. Sleep deprivation. I mean, tell me that you've never been driving and you've been going longer than you should, and your head kind of drops. You're like, I'm just going to go down for a minute with my head. And you shake your head back up, and you're scared. Your eyes are all bugged out. You don't know how long you were out. That's scary stuff. All right? So we're not testing for that, So this guy is smart. So he goes, we do have troopers that are specifically trained as drug experts to look further. Now, sometimes I think that's kind of a joke, because I don't even know. I mean, what are we talking about here? We can call those people out when we are on traffic stops. Corporal says it takes a few more steps to arrest someone who is under the influence of cannabis or any other drugs that impair your driving. What we ought to focus on is the ability of the individual to drive safely. The cause of the impairment is not as significant as the fact of the impairment. And there you go. So, many bills relating to cannabis use will be considered by the General Assembly when they convene first week of January next year. And that is interesting, That is interesting. Cannabis moment, Nebraska. Attorney General files lawsuit over Delta 8 THC products on store shelves. Now, I know you're thinking, well, we hear all this Delta 8 junk all the time, and you're right. There's all kinds of stuff going on in the states, and I get kind of bored with talking about what states are doing what with Delta 8. But I think there might be some fun quotes in here that we can make fun of this guy with. So that's why we're kind of entertaining it. Because here's a quote. We know Delta 8 is a bad chemical. It's a bad drug, and it hurts people. And then what? Then you say, and good night? I mean, I'd like to know what you meant. What do you mean it's a bad chemical? Talk to me about that. It's a bad drug. Is it a drug? Why is it bad? Tell me about that. It hurts people. Who does it hurt? Has it hurt you? Do you know anybody that's hurt? What are we talking about? Because, you could ask me them questions. I don't have an answer. I don't know. Why did he know? Why does Attorney General Mike Halgers know? I don't know. But it looks like Nebraska Attorney General Mike has got the problem. So, pointing at what he called mislabeled and dangerous products made to look like Nerds, Fritos, the Attorney General announced an unprecedented action to protect consumers. So, let's see. His focus is on Delta 8 products. He said the lawsuits filed Wednesday are separate from any pending criminal investigation. So, there's a major statewide action against retailers selling mislabeled and deceptive THC-containing products. Okay. So, let's see. Of about 100 items tested during the probe, 15% were accurately and clearly labeled. Well, that's not great. And then he said the synthetic process by which Delta 8 is manufactured can inject harmful industrial solvents, heightening his alarm. It's a game of Russian roulette that Nebraskans are losing. See, I mean, losing how? Okay? Because Russian roulette is gnarly. There's one bullet in a 5-round or whatever chamber. And I don't know what the percentage of you not dying are, but I mean, you're probably better off not playing Russian roulette. Now, you use that as a parallel to Delta 8 consumption. I don't buy it, Halgers. You can't tell me Delta 8's like playing a game of Russian roulette that I'm losing. All right? That just, I mean, I remember, that's just a fun story hour here. Back in the day, I think it was probably in the 90s, early 2000s. I was at this party. A lot of people were on acid. I was on acid. And this guy, he liked to shock people. He was kind of crazy. And he did that. He whipped out the pistol, did the bullet, did the thing, and he didn't die, but whoa, bro, that was heavy, dude. That was heavy. And, I mean, I'll never forget that until, like I had forgotten it until I'm talking about this story. And I don't even know. Oh, the Russian roulette example. And that's insane. And so you're going to compare that to Delta 8? I mean, you can, right? I'm not going to tell you can. You just lose kind of some sort of, you lose validity to me. I mean, I feel like you came up with that because it sounded good because you think it needs to be gone. So then you're going to dramatize it so it feels like you're doing somebody a solid. So the Attorney General said we are misleading. We are not, said an owner of a vape shop. He said he was blindsided by the accusations. Another shop owner noted as a retailer, she gets cannabis products from larger vendors that come with a certification of analysis. If the state's testing show a discrepancy, by all means, take it off the shelf. However, she also had been aware of the state's worries and as of Wednesday evening hadn't gotten any notice of any legal action. The lawsuit, including Greenhouse Grandma, well, that's a fun name, seeks to entice and ultimately ensnare Nebraska's most vulnerable consumers. Let me guess, children. The Attorney General contends that to maximize financial gains, the retailers mislead the public about the dangers of the THC products. So, we presume, without your knowledge or license, your intellectual property rights are being infringed here in Nebraska. So that's kind of interesting, and I just got a picture of this Mike Halgers, and it's not great. He looks like a guy that should play Russian roulette with 5 bullets. Just kidding. I'm kidding. All right? That was a joke. So help me, I was kidding. Cannabis moment. Traffic death rates fall in states that legalize cannabis. Did you hear that? We're talking about traffic now. Traffic deaths fall in states that you can buy this whenever you want. Well, that don't make any sense, does it? Because logically, that shouldn't make any sense. Right? New study finds, while those that kept criminalization saw a slight increase. Now, I don't know about that, and we'll get into it. I'm not so sure why they think that's the case. But anyway, ultimately, this paper concludes motor vehicle safety should not be a significant concern for cannabis legalization initiatives. As of yet, studies have failed to show that legalization has resulted in any significant increase in traffic fatalities. However, the same cannot be said for alcohol, an intoxicant that remains legal and is deeply ingrained in our culture and is causing some issue as we speak. One idiot has overdone it as we speak somewhere in the world every second. Some guy is blathering incoherently about something that's going to spiral into an assault charge. because of booze. All right. The findings, which are not peer-reviewed, examined traffic fatality data from the 4 states that are legal. And then they looked at 5 states where it's illegal, like stinking Indiana, Nebraska, and Kansas. I do want to note, Kansas did a poll. They found like 70% of people approve and want cannabis legalized. Apparently, a lot of those are Republicans, whatever that means. In the 3 years following the change, you're listening to Canna-Talk ND with Wilson, by the way, here on KRFF 95.9. Every Thursday I get in here. So next Thursday, hey, assume I'll be here. Maybe we'll have some better stories. But we'll keep cruising here because I got a lot of stuff to talk about. Let's see here. What are we going to talk about? Let's talk about this. This is from High Times. 3-year-old and father murdered after possibly finding cocaine washed up on a shore in Belize. A particular cove known as the Sea Lotto in Belize has been a hot spot for criminal activity. Apparently they do wet shoring or whatever. They just throw it, and then this cove kind of like gravity sucks it in, and then they just go and pick it up. So this week, the violence claimed the life of a very young child, her father, and another bystander. 3 people are dead, including a girl, after they were caught in a gunfight near a beach in Belize, famous for having bricks of cocaine wash on shore. They were all killed while driving in a golf cart on a dimly lit road near a lagoon. They were both pronounced dead at the scene, and that's a tragic story. The lagoon in question, Ambergris Cay, has been dubbed as the Sea Lotto in the past due to a rash of violent incidences surrounding the kilograms of coke, which authorities say regularly wash up on the shore. Okay, check this out. This has led to ongoing gang wars between local factions of the Bloods and the Crips in Belize. Okay, it's believed to be such a hotspot for cocaine in Ambergris Cay because of cartel activity further out at sea, wherein bricks of cocaine are believed to be wet dropped. Okay, that's a new phrase I've learned today. I mean, class, write down wet dropped. There'll be a quiz at the end. So, bricks of cocaine are believed to be wet dropped into the range of particular ocean currents off the coast of Central America, which carry the bricks into Mexico. The ocean is not the most predictable mode of transportation, however, and small changes in weather can often send the cocaine off course. Isn't this crazy? That's like message in a bottle, yeah. It's like it's taking cocaine. You're just putting cocaine in the wind. You just put it on the waves and it'll come back. What's it say in the Bible? Cast your bread upon the water and it'll come back to you in many days. It's like, cast your kilo of coke upon the water and it shall find itself where it needs to be, because it needs to be where it needs to be. Isn't that crazy? It'll be fine. Just throw a bunch of coke in the water. It'll show up. It's the track. It's the way it goes. It's the particular ocean current, bruh. What? An inordinate amount of those kilos lost reportedly end up on a remote northern section of the Cay just south of Mexico's southern border. Belizean authorities announced that they had identified the 2 suspects they believed to have been associated with the triple homicide, both of whom had been arrested on unrelated matters just a week prior to the incident. Okay. So, these 2 people are currently being sought. Commissioner Williams indicated that Eastsped had a lengthy criminal reputation. So it is a motive that we're looking at, and apparently after drugs were found, there was a division between them due to the fact that there was not an equitable share of the drugs, and based on that, he was targeted by the Eastsped, by the Espats. You would know the name Christian Espat is not new. It's been called on numerous occasions for allegedly committing crimes of this nature. Okay. Whatever that means. Well, anyway, my name is Christian Espat. Apparently, he sent a video to the media to clear my name because the police are accusing me of triple murder. I'm not running. I'm not hiding. I don't know why they are accusing me of this murder because I didn't have any misunderstanding and no problem with this guy. So, again, man, don't mess with coke, folks. It comes with a price tag, and it's not a good one. It's not a good one. That's from High Times, too. 2 million dimes. Count them, folks. 2 million dimes. Crab legs. Jose Cuervo among a haul of stolen loot from Philadelphia crime spree. Multiple felony charges have been filed against a group of dudes who allegedly ripped off a series of cargo carrying trucks in spring of this year, which netted them a long list of somewhat random stolen goods and ended in thousands of small coins being strewn across a Philadelphia parking lot. 4 4 men are facing a slew of criminal charges after the authorities said they robbed a series of trucks in Philly, including one carrying a shipment of dimes from the U.S. Federal Reserve. Now, here's where you guys get to guess, and I'll give you 2 seconds. How many dimes, how much did the dimes equal on April 13th, 2 days before my birthday? I'll tell you, $234,000 worth of freshly minted dimes, y'all. And I mean, I would be pretty stoked. I'm not sure how you'd, how your booty, how you would distribute your booty, you're going to buy like, what, $600 worth of something in dimes, bruh? I mean, how many dimes is that? $600 in dimes. Anybody? What is that? 6,000? I don't know. But the alleged thieves reportedly left dimes scattered all over the roadway from quickly trying to bag and transfer a portion of the cargo, which weighed more than 6 tons in total. 6 tons worth of dimes, man. That's crazy. From the truck to their getaway van. 6 tons of dimes. Federal authorities said the 4 suspects they arrested for the theft of the dimes was also believed to have robbed several other trucks. The other loads contained shrimp, crab legs, meat, beer, liquor. Was suspected to have been stolen by these guys, Rakim Savage, Ronald Hanif, and Malik. That's crazy. The Inquirer said the crimes all carried a similar mode of operation where the men would find trucks hanging out in parking lots, remove drivers from their trucks, use bolt cutters to gain access to the cargo, which would then be removed and loaded onto a white box truck. So, let's keep cruising here. What do we got? This is Ganjapreneur. Denver passes $500 million mark for cannabis taxes and industry fees, which is a lot of numbers, but we're going to kind of look at some of the good they do. In 2023, local cannabis tax revenues will fund $8 million in homelessness service, more than $8.7 million in affordable housing assistance, and nearly $4.4 million in small business investments, with more than $10 million for youth intervention, legal cannabis industry enforcement, regulator efforts, and public safety campaigns. So that is something. From 2010 to 2013, the city collected $26.2 million. In 2014, it was $23.8 million. And then in 2021, they saw their record fees up to $72.9. So they wanted to mention the 2% increase on cannabis sales taxes for affordable housing provided nearly $38.8 million from late 2018 through 2022, which has helped pay for Denver Department of Housing Stability land acquisitions, unit development, housing assistance, and supportive housing services. So, they're doing good stuff with the money. And I don't know how much stuff that, big tobacco or booze, I don't know what they're up to. I would imagine they're probably not doing it like they should. You know what I'm saying? Former DEA agent fired over positive THC test from CBD products solicits public support as legal fees mount to challenge agency's action. It'll be neat to see how this plays out, because if he can somehow, because CBD should be fine. CBD should be fine. I would like to think that you could take as much as you wanted and you wouldn't fail a test. But, sometimes there's THC in it that would flag a test. And it happens, and it's sad because it doesn't happen a lot, but it keeps a lot of people who get kind of scared of losing jobs and, status and whatever. So the DEA, as an outstanding special agent during his 16-year tenure, he was terminated in 2019 following a random drug screening that revealed traces of THC metabolites. He admitted to taking CBD for chronic pain as an opioid alternative, and he turned over the products he believed to be federally legal, but they upheld his firing even upon appeal. Now, it's been a costly case, years in the making. Armour said he continues to use CBD while employed because he doesn't consider it. While he doesn't consider it a miracle drug, the non-intoxicating cannabinoid has resulted in a significant improvement in my overall well-being with the medical issues that I've had. And it allows him to manage pain without resorting to addictive opioids. So we'll see. There's a GoFundMe campaign to raise money to help his deal. He had a short stint of employment, but his contract worked, so it didn't last long. So I don't use social media, he says. So hopefully this works out for him. And again, here's the thing. I even so, the career law enforcement official said that he'd forego CBD if he was allowed to return. So he'd have to find some alternative treatments, and that's what's so crazy, because he remains unwilling to use opioids, which would be fine. This guy could be an agent all day long on hydrocodones and perks. He could even be doing a little fentanyl. It'd be cool for his pain. But he uses something that grows out of the ground that isn't messed with by man, that brings him relief. Whew. We don't want you here, sir. Leave, get on some real drugs, and come back. So that's crazy. Canna-Talk ND with Wilson. About wrapping up another segment here. 4:20, we opened a big fat bag of cannabis news. And this Thursday was no different. Homework, cannabis moment. New York officials debunk misinformation about fentanyl-laced cannabis. A misconception that remains widespread despite a lack of evidence. They say is a false narrative that cannabis is commonly contaminated with fentanyl. And I tend to agree. I think it's more in the narcotic division, because it kind of, there's symmetry in opiates and stuff. Like you can hide fentanyl in stuff, like the heroin. You're not going to, but then it messes you up so much and it kills you. So fentanyl's horrible. But I'm saying there's not really a synergistic application to cannabis with fentanyl in it. It just doesn't, it don't make any sense. Now, of course, you'd argue that nothing in this world makes any sense anymore, Wilson. And you might be right, but I'm saying, I've done drugs a few times, and I just think that fentanyl probably isn't connected with cannabis. But anyway, anecdotal reports of fentanyl-contaminated cannabis continue to be found false. So, apparently it's a misconception. So, anyway, programming on KRFF, Radio Free Fargo, 95.9 is being underwritten by Flatland Guitar and Luthery. Flatland Guitar is your full-service guitar shop and your exclusive dealer for Yamaha, Taylor, Paul Reed Smith guitars and other brands. They sell guitars on consignment. They take trade-ins and have a full-service on-site repair center. Check out Flatland Guitar and Luthery on Facebook or visit them in person at 1450 25th Street South in Fargo. Their hours are Monday through Friday, 10 to 6, Saturdays 10 to 5, closed on the Lord's Day. Now, I've decided to dust off because Devendra Banhart, is it Bainhart? She's got a new album out. He's got a new album out. And it made me remember about this crazy tune, Chinese Children. Here you go. And that, my friends, was Chinese Children, Devendra Banhart, from 2005. I believe I was somewhere in a coffee shop the day I heard that, and what a crazy song. My daughter and I, every time we want to trip out, we listen to it because it's so weird. Because out of my nose, my blue baby grows. What are we talking about? KRFF 95.9 LPFM, radiofreefargo.org. Canna-Talk ND with Wilson is about out the door. Stinky Arts Music Mart is on deck. Then you got your mixtape. Wraps up your Thursday. Thank you for listening to me, Canna-Talk ND with Wilson. We'll be back next Thursday. 4:20, open a big fat bag of cannabis news. So come back through for that. Thank you for joining me again. This show is brought to you by Black Cottage Alchemy. Black Cottage Alchemy on Facebook. 1,200 mgs of CBD in a lotion that's it's the cat's bananas. Is that right? No, cat's pajamas. That's right. But anyway, it's something that's good. Thank you, Black Cottage Alchemy, for sponsoring this show. I believe God created cannabis for us to use as we see fit. I show him props every Sunday. Antioch Church, 417 Main Avenue, 10 a.m. recovery class, 11 a.m. worship. Come on through and get you some. Well, I think I'm going to mosey on out. I got stuff to do, and I had to put the scooter up. It's starting to get too cold to scoot around, so I got to leave a little sooner. But again, y'all be good. Take care of each other. It's crazy out there. Hug a loved one. And I'll see you back here Thursday, 4 o'clock, Canna-Talk ND with Wilson. Till then, I leave you with David Allen, Judgment Day. Peace.